Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, March 26th, 2023. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. And another week has passed, and we're heading into the last week of March, and next Sunday will be April 2nd. Hard to believe we're just moving so fast through these months, and it's like I blink and a day is gone. But I'd like to welcome everyone to the show tonight. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube, and we're going to go over climate items, methane for the week, sea ice, North Pole and South Pole, and earthquakes. And so we'll get an overview of what's gone on this week. And we did have first day of spring. We had spring equinox this week, and the sun is almost completely up at the Arctic, and it's going down in the Antarctic. So as the seasons are shifting, then changes things that we look at too. Although where I am in the Reno area is still winter, and we got snow last night, and we've got another system coming in a couple of days with more snow. So I don't know when it's going to end. Hopefully at some point, but anyway, I think it's going to be a very hot summer. So we're starting out with Climate Reanalyzer here, and we're looking at maximum temperatures around the globe today. And here we're seeing this not nearly so much cold air as what they did have in the Arctic. That's going away, and we're seeing a lot more actually greens and into the blues, aquas. And you can see the cold air coming down on this west coast, and here through the upper part of the U.S., and then warm temperatures in the south. And here's the flat view. We're not seeing too many whites in South America today. We're seeing here's whites coming across Africa, Saudi Arabia, India, Southern Asia, a little bit in the interior of Australia, and these whites are about 40 degrees Celsius right down here, or 104 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. And where you see whites in the cold regions, that's on the other end of the spectrum, where it's way below. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly today, and we can see this Arctic region from the Pacific coming across the Bering Strait here in the Chukchi Sea. Over that, we're moving into the dark red zone, and that's about 18 degrees C higher than normal. And we've got browns in the basin and coming all the way across on the east side, and the dark browns are 10 to 14 C higher than normal. And then across a lot of Russia, it's got browns and reds as well. And then the blues right next to it, which are colder air, colder than normal. And here, North America, let's see, it's blues on the west side and browns on the east side, it looks like. And here's the flat view. Let's see the red down here. This is just above the Caspian Sea. That is, I'm kind of having a brain fart trying to remember that country. Kazakhstan. There we go. Pretty sure that's Kazakhstan. Anyway, look at all these browns in Russia. We've got browns on the west side of Africa, and a little bit from Spain across Europe and so on. And we've got it's heating up in the Antarctic, and especially on the interior. We've got pinks and reds there. Here's our global overview. Worldwide, we're up 0.69 C, higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 1.01 C, so that's higher. The Arctic is up 2.86 C. The Antarctic is up 1.03 C, that's gone up. Southern hemisphere is up 0.36 C, and the tropics are up 0.31 C. So all the regions are in the plus, and these three, especially Northern Hemisphere, Arctic, and Antarctic, are major ones to be 1 C or higher than normal. So that's not good. And here's precipitation and clouds. So we've got snow coming in on this west side of the Arctic, and snow on the east side too. And then these what were atmospheric rivers in the U.S. are now, see, they move across the Atlantic to our friends over there in Europe on the other side of the globe. Here's the flat view. We've got some freezing rain down here next to the Antarctic, next to the ice there. So that's pretty far south to have freezing rain. Also, on this further around, we've got more freezing rain next to the Antarctic as well. And this is on either side of the Ross Sea. This area here is the Ross Sea. Here are the jet pieces. I don't call it a loop or a stream anymore because it's just broken in pieces. See this weird loop. And then another one here. So double loops here over in North America. Here's the Pacific view. And see, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops or pieces. It's all broken. Look at this one, just above the equator. We didn't used to have that. We'll look at sea ice and snow cover in a minute. And here's sea surface temperature anomaly. This is from yesterday. And still had browns in this Barents Sea and the North Atlantic, next to blues as well, browns, and moving into reds here in the Baffin Bay, and higher readings in this North Atlantic region as well, and browns in the Gulf of Mexico. Sam Carana did a post this week on record high sea surface temperature, and if you haven't seen that, it's arctic-news.blogspot.com. It's his latest post, and so it's very dire with the sea surface temperatures going up so high, and I'm wondering when they're going to change their chart here, because here on Climate Reanalyzer it only goes up to 6C higher than normal, and I think they need to change that, because we're seeing temperatures higher than that. And so, let's see, this Atlantic is all in the brown. The Mediterranean Sea is heating back up, moving back into brown. Here's the Black Sea, it's got some browns. Caspian Sea has quite a few browns. And this is just at the beginning of spring. We're already seeing all these browns in these interior seas here. Most of the Indian Ocean is now in some shade of brown. Here in the Pacific, and see on this west side of South America, see it's moving into browns and reds. And this equatorial Pacific is switching from blue to brown, and this is setting up for the El Nino that we're moving into. So not good, but these are the conditions that we're seeing. Next we'll move to methane, and we're starting here we go with the NOAA methane data for yesterday, the 25th. For the Met-B satellite in the morning, and the 1,000 millibar level. The mean average was 1,838 parts per billion. The high reading was 2149. In the afternoon, the mean was 1841, the high reading was 2108. On the Met-Op-C satellite in the morning, the mean was 1843. The high reading was 2155. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1846, and the high reading was 2133. Here's our weekly chart for 1000 millibar. So the 25th averaged out to be 1842.0 parts per billion. That was an increase over the week before for this week of 1.0. And here's our increase here. So that's 2 weeks in a row now that we've seen an increase. So I'll show you what happened this week. In my show last week, we ended at 1841.0 and had an increase of 0.5 that week. Then the 19th went up 0.5. On the 20th, down 0.25. On the 21st and 22nd, no change. On the 23rd, down 0.5. 24th, up 0.75. And the 25th, up 0.5. So we're seeing some stair-stepping, but we're on the general upswing now. And then moving to the 487 millibar level, Met-Op-B satellite in the morning. The mean was 1911. The high reading was 2377. In the afternoon, the mean was 1915. The high reading was 2510. And on the Met-Op-C satellite in the morning, the mean was 1876. The high reading was 2232. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1879. The high reading was 2221. And so on our 487 weekly chart, the 25th averaged out to be 1895.25, and that gave us a decrease this week of 1.25. So we see the line going down here. And so, this is about halfway up in the atmosphere. So it's common to see it go up at one level and down at another level, because it's morphing and transitioning through the atmosphere. But we saw 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row of increase, and then 1 week of decrease here. So that's common to have some stair-stepping going on like that. Now we'll see what happened this week. And in our show last week, we ended at 1896.50 with an increase of 3.25 that week. And the 19th, it went down 1.25. The 20th, it went down 1.75. The 21st, it went up 1.0. 22nd, up 0.25. 23rd, down 1.0. 24th, up 1.0. And 25th, up 0.50. So, see, just up and down this week, and ending 1.25 parts per billion lower this week. And now we'll go to the CAMS methane data. This is the Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service out of the EU methane forecast, and they changed their website at the beginning of March. I'm still getting used to it. I like it. I'm finding it easier to maneuver. So, here our base time is for Saturday the 25th. Same for valid time. Arctic area and surface level. And so the data is for Saturday, and forecast period is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're seeing yellows here coming up through the sea ice. We can see the Arctic in some shade of yellow here, and some greens over here, but mainly a yellow-green or yellowish. And see, it's not coming off of the land. It's coming up independently through the sea ice and all around. See this East Siberian Sea and the Laptev Sea, and then this is the Kara Sea. And we're noticing Komsomolets has calmed down for this week. For whatever reason. And the interior of Russia has gone down. See, there are no reds from this middle part east. It's mainly greens and kind of yellows. Now, one thing we've been noticing is methane coming up at the Hudson Bay, and I've been commenting earlier this week that I don't remember seeing it coming up from the Hudson Bay before, and it's frozen, so that's coming up through ice as well. And it's not just in the yellows. You'll notice see right here, it's moving into the reddish zone, and that's for Sunday today. And then here from North Dakota, it's really hemorrhaging. It's been I don't know what extra they're doing there, but we know there's oil operations there. There's also lignite coal mine and carbon sequestration plant. So a lot of stuff that if it's all going at once, you see a lot of methane from that area. and then you can see just depending on the day, it's see huge blobs in the higher regions. That's after they got rain. See, and like blobby areas up in this Mississippi River area. So, see, like right there. See here, that's the Mississippi right along there. And this is the Texas coastline, interior of Texas. Here's West Texas. Here's California. So, see here, very blobby, and the severe weather, I mean, I can't keep up with it. I leave the weather reporting to the other people. It's just it's all I can do to keep up with methane and sea ice practically. Okay, here's the North Pole view. We can see that it's kind of gone down here in Spain and Europe. The UK's filling back up though. Germany, and here's the Persian Gulf. India's filling up, but and China's filling up, but we're not seeing spillover, the heavy spillover over the coastlines like we were seeing earlier this year. See, around India and China. And these South Pacific islands, they're just covered up in methane. It's just the nature of it with the heat and the rain and all of the vegetation. They're going to be big, covered up in methane. And now we'll go to the Antarctic. So here's the Western Peninsula, here's South America, and we can see it's the lighter color, that's the higher methane, that's 1840 parts per billion. It's really coming up more and more and more around these coastlines. And remember, they're at the end of their summer, and the sun's been up 24/7 for months down there, and so it's had time to heat up the water, and it's shallow around these coastlines, and there's methane deposits around all the coasts. I'm thinking pretty much. It's not just in the Arctic, but pretty much everywhere. Look at this whole western peninsula. And we're also seeing more of the lighter blue creeping down, and this is because we're changing seasons and methane is on the rise now. And so this background color of the dark blue of 1820 parts per billion, which we see here, 1820 to 1840, that's going to be dissipating as the lighter blue takes over as the new background color. And then global view. And let's see, it's streaming here off of South America, filling up a lot more of the Atlantic, and also the Indian Ocean has got a lot more of that lighter blue. And Australia is pretty much covered now in the lighter blue. That's its main color, and then it's got higher readings around coastlines where it's populated, more populated. And here in the Pacific too, see? Okay, now we'll look at 500 HPA. And this level corresponds with the 487 level from the NOAA data. And let's see, here the dark here in South America, this is Peru and Argentina. I mean Chile, not Argentina. Also see the dark here across India, here over the Pacific, and we're seeing lighter or lower readings now coming in a tiny bit in the Arctic region, and the darker readings or the heavier methane is redistributing further south as we go into another season here. And then total column. And this is where it's added up through all the layers of the atmosphere. So we can see highest readings here in China, Eastern Asia, and here in South America, and then the reds, and so on. So there's that. Here's sulfur dioxide today, and so we've got high sulfur dioxide here too. Same area where's the high methane. And there's some pretty good sized earthquakes in this area today too. That's the highest that we're seeing. And we're seeing an overall rise of sulfur dioxide for the whole planet, but especially in this northern hemisphere. And the like the lowest reading here is this like forest green, and we don't see any blues anymore. We used to see blues, which was lower than that, and we don't see that anymore. And here's 500 HPA. Let's see, here it is, where it shot up here in South America. And this is left over from Popocatépetl, where it streamed across. And here's the ozone for today in the Antarctic. And we've got another danger zone hole just east of the Antarctic. We had one open up earlier this week too, and then it closed up. But when you see it in this kind of purplish blue color and this big thick black line around it, this area is below 220 Dobson units. It's between 200 and 220 Dobson units, and that's considered in the danger zone by NASA. And then the next color up is aqua, and then greens, and then finally yellows, and the solid yellow is 300 Dobson units, and that's considered to be an average layer or a better layer, and then it goes up into the reds. But I was going to show you that on CAMS. I forgot. Let's go back. And see, it defaults to the South Pole view, and it's upside down, and north is down here. So I like the Antarctic view. It flips it up. See, here's north, south, east, and west. Here's South America. And so here's the hole, and it just opened up today, and let's see, there it goes. And they show it dissipating by the end of Monday, so for 2 days it opened up. And so I think it's pretty early in the season for it to be doing that. I want to watch it again. Here we can. I mean, the sun's not gone down completely. Normally, we don't see these opening up until it's been dark down there for a while. And then we're back to the beginning. So there's that. Okay, back to our pictures here. Here's the Arctic ozone, and see the heavy is starting to break up and redistribute. It's, as we're changing seasons again. And here's the global view. And we can see the greens. That's all thin. All of the greens are below the yellow, which is below a good number. So that's, it lets in radiation and all kinds of stuff. And we already saw that. That's all of those. Now we'll move on to sea ice, and we'll start with our slideshow from Climate Reanalyzer. You're not going to see a lot of change from day to day here. I mean, it was pretty much just holding this week. And when it really starts melting, we'll see dramatic change from day to day and week to week. So here we are today from Climate Reanalyzer, sea ice and snow cover. Here it's melting in the Baffin Bay along the Canada coastline, and see it's thinned way down here next to Greenland. It looks like a little regrowth here, and maybe a little regrowth here in the North Barents Sea and here by Novaya Zemlya and along the Russia coast, but it's melted too in other areas, so it's hard to say. So let's see what's happened this week. Here we were last Sunday, the 19th. See, it's almost the same, almost identical to what you just saw. So we'll just go through here. So here's Sunday. Here's Monday, the 20th. Here's the 22nd, and they missed posting on the 21st. So we saw, so here's the 20th, and here's the 22nd. So we saw a little regrowth here in the Barents Sea, and we saw a retreat here in the Bering Sea, Barents and Bering. Got to keep those two separate. There's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and here we are today. So there's that, and I'm happy to report that the U.S. Navy website updated. When did they come back with new data? I think it was the 23rd. Yeah, so yeah, nothing between the 9th and the 23rd. Nothing new. For whatever reason. But they're back, and now we'll see what it looks like. And we're starting here with the Arctic sea ice thickness. Here's our thickness chart on the right, and The thickest is this dark red at 5 meters thick. And let's see, the solid green is about 3 meters thick. And you don't see much of anything thicker than the bright aqua. So the bright aqua is 2 to 2.5 meters thick. The dark aqua is 1.5 meters thick. And the dark blue moving into the purple is about 1 meter thick. And the lighter purple is about 0.5 meter thick. And down to white is 0. So if we zoom in, we can see I like to go quadrant by quadrant. Well, here in the Sea of Okhotsk at Russia, see it's come back down to here. These are the Kuril Islands. And here's the Bering Sea. And this is melting. We're also starting to see some melt on this west side. You'll see when we go to National Snow and Ice Data Center, the ice it's started melting already, coming apart. And so here in quadrant 1, it's mainly in shades of aqua, mainly darker aqua. And here in the Laptev Sea, we've got thinner. It never was as thick right in this area all winter long. It was thinner kind of all the way across. And then in quadrant 2 here, we've got so here's the North Pole, and mainly darker aqua and the blues and purples, and then lighter purples on the edges of the ice. Kara Sea is mainly in the purples. And we've got aquas around that kind of build up around the coastlines depending on the ice drift. Here in quadrant 3, and this includes Greenland and Ellesmere Island, and we're seeing some reds. This is in the Lincoln Sea, so I don't know how they came up with it that thick when you see the broken up ice up there, but whatever. And then greens, that's the 3 meters thick. And then brighter aqua, and then it's flowing down, exiting along this east side of Greenland and also through the nearest strait. And we've got some aqua here in Baffin Bay, and then purples here in the Hudson Bay. See, we've got some aquas around the east and south, and then the blues, that's about 1 meter thick there, 1 to 1.25 meters thick. Then these tributaries are mainly aquas. Then here in quadrant 4, it's mainly aqua, bright aqua. So the majority of the thicker sea ice is above Greenland and coming across to, and here's the Beaufort Sea, and here's our bright aqua, and see it's got bridge of brighter aqua across to Siberia there. Then green's here. Here's a spot of red in the Beaufort Sea. And also here in the Chukchi Sea, it's a little thinner. It's been warmer this area all year too, or all winter. And a spot of red off the coast of Russia. And here's the 30-day animation, and this is updated to today, so the data goes back 3 weeks, but it wasn't completely data. They forecast, see the break from the 8th to the 25th on the data. That's where they didn't have any data. So anyway, so the forecast goes out to next Sunday. So let's see where we are. Okay, here we are on next Sunday, showing where they're thinking it's going to be, or what the model says. So showing a little fringe of ice coming out a little more here, out from Svalbard and around Novaya Zemlya and so on, but it's melting here in the Bering Sea, and you'll see this interior is going to be coming apart. So if you want to see, so here we are today, 26th. And we'll just click through. And I see it getting darker. That means it's melting. It's thinning from the brighter color to the darker color. So that's pretty obvious, the changing there this week. And this is this East Siberian Sea and the Chukchi Sea, and that's where we saw the warmer air as well. Okay, here's the Beaufort sea ice thickness. This is for today, and here's the thicker ice, or thickest ice, 5 meters thick, right along the coastline, Canada. Not much yellow. Here's the green, 3 meters thick. And this kind of orangey red, that's about 4 meters thick there. So we can see some thickening happening in the Beaufort Sea with the bright aqua and even moving into green. But there's this ridge that's thinner. And then also here in the Chukchi Sea, you can see it's quite a bit thinner. And here's a hole along the Canada coastline. This is where the ice drift had pulled it away, and then eventually it goes back. Here's the 30-day animation, again updated to today. So the forecast goes out to next Sunday, and if you'll watch, see, we've got more ice drift pulling it away from the coastline, and we end up at the end. See, we've got holes along the coast there. So there's that, and then what am I doing? Here we go. Clicked one too many. Here's the Antarctic for today, and here's the refreeze here in the Ross Sea, and on this west side in the Amundsen Sea. Lots of whites, meaning still a lot of open water, but it's, this is our refreeze. Also here in the Weddell Sea, we've got refreeze going on, and a little bit of fringe ice around the coastlines coming in. And this is all we have of the thicker ice, except for just a touch here and there around some coast, but right here, the 2 to 2.5 meter thick. That's it. Right there, next to the Western Peninsula, and this whole area is methane coming up. Okay, here's the 30-day animation, and the forecast goes out to next Sunday. Now what's weird, we'll see a little flash, a flash of ice, like for one day, and then it goes away. See, top and bottom, that's kind of weird. So there's that. Here's National Snow and Ice Data Center, Arctic sea ice concentration. This is for yesterday. And here's the blue. That's a hole where the nearest strait empties out into the Baffin Bay. I see the blue here, that's melting, and here, see all this blue in the Beaufort Sea and the Chukchi Sea, that's melting. Also down to here in the Bering Sea, that's melting. Here in the Laptev Sea, we've got melting, and here in the Kara Sea, we've got melting. So now this edge, this is a regrowth, tiny bit, and around the Russia coast, but it's already started. The melt has started. And then here's our extent chart for this was yesterday's. And here's where we reached maximum extent. I think it was March the 6th. I reported on that in my show last week. Then it took a nosedive, and then it leveled off, and then a nudge up, and then a level off, and here's where we are, flat line. Here's 2012, so we're well below 2012 and well below the median. Here's the Antarctic, and here's the regrowth all around there. It's still below median. Of course it's going to be below median. I mean, we'll never get back up to that. And here's the regrowth chart on the extent, and the blue line is this year. This kind of darkish green line is last year. We just crossed last year. Just stepped up, so we're just above last year on the regrowth. But we were at record low for months and months. So, and last year was record low too, so this is, you know, to be above last year at record low, and you know, it's going to end up being the same, probably. That's all of those. Okay, now we'll move on to NASA Worldview. This is where we get to look at the satellite images. Now I'm going to start with the sea ice concentration layer. Let's see what's happened this week. There, turn off the clouds. And see the dot? That's where it's still dark. Well, that's the North Pole. So here we are today, and we've got lots of pinks. A solid white means solid concentration. Pink means you've got cracks in the ice, or it's melting. Could be a refreeze, depending on if it's growing or shrinking. So if we go back to last Sunday, here we were last Sunday, So we'll see what happened this week. Here's the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. So we're getting some whites in there. 25th. Not now. Now pinks come back. 26th. That's today. So we're even getting pinks further in, closer towards the North Pole. I like this other concentration level too. See, this corresponds to National Snow and Ice Data Center. Let's see. See the melt anywhere where there's blues there. And I've not looked at the nighttime view. I don't even know if it would produce anything we could make out. Let's try. Let's see. Nighttime layer. Yeah, so here in the Lincoln Sea, where it's supposed to be red, you know, the red ice, the 4-meter thick ice. Here it is. See, it's all broken up. Look at that. And that dark, that's open water. So that's not good. Now that could be a cloud there. Let's go back. Can't tell. Here's the nearest strait. See, the dark, that's all open water. So it's not frozen solid. There are pieces of ice, but it's moving. See. And here's where it opens out into the Baffin Bay. Here's the Baffin Bay. There's Greenland. Here's the ice. We're starting to see it open up. See the cracks there. What else can we see? Here's the east side of Greenland. Here's the ice edge. See? Here's Svalbard. And here's where the ice has come out further. A little bit. Here's Novaya Zemlya. See, it's getting a little fringe of ice on this bottom side. Here's the Kara Sea. Look at this. Here's Yamal Peninsula. Look at all these lights. That's stuff on land. Here comes some mollets right here, and you can see right around the coast here, that's open. Here's the ice. See the cracks, it's opening. And here's the Lactave Sea. Can't tell much there. See, that's melting. You can see that. And here's New Siberian Islands. See, there's the ice. That may be all we can see. There's the Bering Strait. Can't make much out there. Here's Alaska. There's a hole. There's Barrow. There's Koptovik. Here's the Beaufort Sea. Here's the hole. See the dark there? That's the hole where it's pulled away from the Canadian coast. See, here's another hole. Okay, and here's Ellesmere Island. And you can see it opening. See, the cracks are forming. And that's the North Pole there, the middle of the swirl. Well, that was pretty good. We saw more than I thought we'd be able to. Now, let's see satellite view. Here's that broken up ice in the Lincoln Sea. See, there's the open water. Well, maybe the thicker ice is down here. I don't know. Here's Greenland. Let's see. Here's the nearest strait. Look at this. So you can see the ice there. The pieces. These are shadows. The dark there. Because sun has just come up. Still at an angle. Here's the Baffin Bay. Here, see? There's the ice. Here's Greenland. Here's the fringe ice on this east side. Here's Svalbard. There's the ice edge. See? Here's Franz Josef Land. And Novaya Zemlya. Kara Sea. Severnaya Zemlya, and here's Komsomolets. See, this is thin ice here. Let's see, there's a opening. See, there's a little ice edge right around the coast, and then here's the sea ice, and there's opening around it. Here's the Laptev Sea. Here you go. See the dark? That's open water. That's where it's coming apart. Here's East Siberian Islands. There's the ice. See the cracking up. And then we've got clouds here. Let's see if we can see. Here's yesterday. This is better. Look at this. To today. Look at this. Look at this. See where it's pulled away from the coast. That's a wide area there. This is melting. See, you can definitely see that that's melting. Here's the Bering Strait. Here's the Bering Sea. Here's Alaska. And here's a whole see open water there. This is in the Chukchi Sea. So this is that warmer air over it. See. Here's the Beaufort Sea. Got a big cloud. Here's yesterday. Here we go. So this is where a lot of this thicker sea ice is. Here's Canada, archipelago. And here's today. Here's yesterday. Back to today. Back to where we started from. Let's look at the Hudson Bay. Now remember, we saw methane coming up here. Okay, here it was, the 24th. There's the ice. Okay, so the only part that's still in the dark is right here, right around the North Pole. And that'll go away in a couple of days. So, sun is up almost completely now. It's still low on the horizon, but winter and nighttime is gone. Okay, now moving to the Antarctic, and they have a different shape model every year with where the sun's going down and it's black. This is just so weird looking to me. Anyway, so the sun is low on the horizon and going down here, and I'm looking for our A76 iceberg. That we've been tracking. There it is. He was hiding. There he is. And he's moved. Been under clouds. Okay. Here we were last Sunday, 19th. Right up here under that big cloud. Here's the 20th. There he is. Still intact. You can see the pieces just breaking off slowly, but it's just amazing how this is still intact. It's the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Okay, see, it's rotated up. 25th, and today it's under the cloud. So let's look at the 24th. I'm not seeing a lot of new pieces there, but it is, see, it's rotating upwards. Then here's the Western Peninsula, and so this is where methane's coming up, and this ice just right here, that's all that's left of the aqua ice right along here. 2 to 2.5 meters thick. Here's a hole, see? We see strange colors with the sun getting low. And we'll see shadows as well. Here's Pine Island Glacier. It's a weird cloud. Yesterday, trying to see if there's a clearer view. No. See, it's just cloudy the whole time. So, here's the edge of the glacier, and then sea ice that's coming back in. There's some sea ice. Here's sea ice refreezing, and then look at this view. This is the Thwaites Glacier. This is, what a view. Look at this. Here's some refreeze here. And down here, see, here's some refreeze. Now some of this was left over from the tongue, the ice tongue that broke up, and then that's refreezing. And here's that big piece left from the ice tongue. The biggest piece, so it's kind of moving down. Here's some refreeze, see? Here's the Ross Sea. So here's our refreeze. And here's the Ross Ice Shelf. Here's Ross Island. And see the shadows. This is Mount Erebus. It's different every day, isn't it? Here's the ice. It's refreezing fast. So, okay, here's the Totem Glacier. I was looking for it. It's under this weird cloud. Yeah, cloud. Okay, here we go. And here's the refreeze coming in. There's the ice tongue. Then the east side, we've got refreeze here a little bit. Here's the Amory Ice Shelf. There's a shadow. And the north side, and coming around to the Brunt Ice Shelf right here. I'm not used to looking at it after that big piece broke off. That just doesn't look right to me, but there it is. Where's our big piece? A81. Oh, he's right here. Right there. There he is. See? And he's getting frozen in. Here's yesterday. And today. We're back to where we started from. Lots of clouds. Now we'll look at earthquakes. So right now we've got 215 all magnitudes worldwide. These big dots are 5s. Look at this in the Fiji region. Let's see. 5.5, 5.0. Here's 5, 5.1 Indonesia. Then these are 4s. And so we've got some big ones here. 5.0 Chile, and so on. Now let's see what happened this week. 7 days, all magnitudes. So this week they're showing 1,955 earthquakes, and there was one at Greenland. See, just off the coast, 4.4 near Osceola, Greenland, and that one happened on the 20th. So that was an Arctic earthquake. And also here in Russia was a 4.9 near Ivinsk, Russia. So that's, I'm sure they have earthquakes. We don't see them reported very often. And here's an Arctic earthquake. 2.3 Arctic Village, Alaska. And see all this. Trying to remember. Okay, there was a 6.5 at Germ, Afghanistan on the 21st. I think that was that the largest one? Can't remember. Okay, 6.5 near San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. That was on the 22nd on land. When you see them on land that big, you know it's causing damage. Also, look here, off the coast of Costa Rica, 5.0. Anyway, lots of movement everywhere. We had here at the Juan de Fuca Plate this week. Here, 4.5 Ferndale, 3.1, 2.8, and 3.3, all around that Juan de Fuca Plate. See, just all the way down. Here in West Texas, look at this, 21, and 3.4, New Mexico, right on the state line. These are mainly twos. There's a couple of threes. So that's my report for tonight. Well, you can see all the big dots. These are fives. Lots of fives. Lots of fives. And now we'll bring it back to a spiritual perspective. And we're continuing in the book of Job. Job chapter 24. Why, seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see his days? Some remove the landmarks, they violently take away flocks and feed thereof. They drive away the ass of the fatherless, they take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way, the poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wild asses in the desert go they forth to do their work, rising betimes for a prey. The wilderness yieldeth food for them and for their children. They reap every one his corn in the field, and they gather the vintage of the wicked. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing, that they have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the showers of the mountains, and embrace the rock for want of a shelter. They pluck the fatherless from the breast, and take a pledge of the poor. They cause him to go naked without clothing, and they take away the sheaf from the hungry, which make oil within their walls, and tread their wine presses, and suffer thirst. Men groan from out of the city, and the soul of the wounded crieth out. Yet God layeth not folly to them. They are of those that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. The murderer rising with the light killeth the poor and needy, and in the night is as a thief. The eye also of the adulterer waiteth for the twilight, saying, No eye shall see me, and disguiseth his face. In the dark they dig through houses, which they had marked for themselves in the daytime. They know not the light, for the morning is to them even as the shadow of death. If one know them, they are in the terrors of the shadow of death. He is swift as the waters, their portion is cursed in the earth. He beholdeth not the way of the vineyards. Drought and heat consume the snow waters. So doth the grave those which have sinned. The womb shall forget him, the worm shall feed sweetly on him. He shall no more be remembered, and wickedness shall be broken as a tree. He evil entreateth the barren that beareth not, and doeth not good to the widow. He draweth also the mighty with his power. He riseth up, and no man is sure of life. Though it be given him to be in safety, whereon he resteth, yet his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low. They are taken out of the way as all other, and cut off as the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be not so now, who will make me a liar, and make my speech nothing worth? Job chapter 24. Well, we can see that humanity is devolving. It hasn't improved since Job's time, and it's actually devolving, going down, going backwards as we're heading into the darkness of these end times. But the light is from God, and the ones of the light, the ones who do good, are of God. Soon, everybody will have to make a choice. Which one are you going to go with? Which one? Something to think about. So, that's my report for this week. I hope everyone has a good week, as good as they can. Lord willing, I'll be back next week and do another update, see where we're at. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, you need to do it before it's too late. That's the only way to have eternal life. Otherwise, you'll be caught up with the devil. So I love you and I'm praying for you. And until next time, go in peace. God bless you, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.